The signing of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area in March of 2018, extraordinary session of the Assembly of Africa Union, was a milestone in pursuing more integrated and inclusive economic growth, anchored on development of skills, market integration, market diversification, and of course underpinned by technology transfer within our economies and from outside. You have said there is a contest between who deposited first the instruments of ACFTA at the headquarters in Addis. I thought it was settled. And it was settled in an amicable win-win fashion. That, let me put it in context. This weekend, over Easter, I went to a restaurant. And there was this gentleman who said that the philosophy around there was that ladies first, men in front. So I don't know whether who was first finally. So maybe, I don't know, Kenya was first to deposit, but somehow Ghana was in front. And I think it was settled that that's why Ghana eventually hosted the Secretariat. And we are very proud of what the government of Ghana has done in making sure that the Secretariat is appropriately facilitated to take up its central role in the integration of the African market. The ACFTA is a promise to the people of Africa to significantly contribute to the attainment of the Agenda 2063 and to ensure that no one is left behind. It drives the continent towards integration, political stability, and unity based on the ideals of our founding fathers and the vision of Africa's renaissance. The ACFTA agreement is expected to foster industrialization and regional competitiveness through the creation of regional value chains and improved agro-processing and expanded markets for meaningful intra-Africa trade and jobs for the young people, especially of our continent. I commend your relentless efforts in successfully steering the conclusion of Phase 1 and Phase 2 negotiations in trade in goods and services, and I urge you to stay the course and conclude the remaining ones and also oversee their implementation. To ensure effective implementation, Kenya strongly supports the establishment of regional offices and is keen to host the East African Regional Office in Nairobi. Kenya looks forward to integrating Africa's financial sector in ways that promote intra-African trade, as well as speed operationalizations of the policy and research development initiatives that you and me discussed when you came to Kenya, and we were both at one of our universities trying to consolidate this position. I'm very happy to be at the ACFTA Secretariat. I was with Wamkele when we launched the first trade facilitation under ACFTA, under the Guided Trade Initiative, where we flagged off the first Kenyan tea and other products that came to Ghana and to the West Coast. I just, while we were walking around the exhibition hall, business people told us that After that first initial flag off, there's been many more, and the frequency is increasing, meaning that we are in the right trajectory. Let me confirm that it was a very proud moment in February this year when we saw the instruments that consolidate the place of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement by the AU heads of state. And I want to confirm that as part of the reform of our organization to make the Africa Union a fit-for-purpose organization, we're going to consolidate our place in making sure that the 1.4 billion people market in Africa becomes a viable entity that will provide opportunity for trade, for investment, for business, for commerce, so that we can create prosperity that leaves nobody behind and shared prosperity that brings on board the majority of the people in our continent. You're all aware that we spend about $5 billion every year just dealing with exchange rate issues between our trading business people. $5 billion is big money in any currency. And therefore, the setup by the Afrexim Bank to provide a payment settlement system for all our traders so that trade in Africa can be carried out in any currency, and there will be a mechanism to make sure that once that trade is over, there will be somebody to provide settlement facility and to ensure that we do not lose because of currency differentials between one currency and another. And when we say this, we are not saying we are against any currency. No, we just want to fend for ourselves. We just want to make sure that in trading, we don't lose because of different exchange rates and different currencies. And I want to specifically underscore the importance of us working together and building synergy and creating institutions. And I will be working with President Nana Akufo-Addo to make sure that all financial institutions under the AU, from the fund to the bank to the insurance, are all ratified so that we can build the necessary financial ecosystem to support trade, investment, and business in our continent. It is our intention as heads of state to make sure that we reform the Africa Union to make it fit for purpose. As we talk today, we have a fairly dysfunctional setup. We have an executive that has no accountability mechanism. We have a parliament that has been made impotent. When I went to address the Pan-African Parliament in South Africa, there is no bureaucracy that works unless you have serious accountability. So it is necessary for us to reinforce the place of the Pan-African Parliament. It is important for us, if we have to have an African Union that works for the people of our continent, it must be accountable, and there must be a mechanism to adjudicate, a court to adjudicate on matters that affect our organization. Without a court to adjudicate, without a parliament for accountability, it is not possible for us to have an optimal organization that works for us. And therefore, it is necessary for us to move in that direction. We are a continent of great opportunity. We are a continent that has 65 of the world's arable, uncultivated land. We are a continent with 60% of the world's renewable energy resources. We are a continent with between 30 and 40% of the world's mineral resources. We are shortly going to be the single largest market in the world. That's our continent, and therefore it is our responsibility, because it is said by one great leader from Nigeria that until the lion learned to write its story, all stories glorified the hunter. So we have to learn to write our own story. And I promise you, we are going to write our own story. And it's going to be a great story. We've been to many capitals in Europe, in America, in Asia. I think it is time that we also invite them to come to our continent. So we are slowly working on a mechanism where we will have the Africa Economic and Investment Summit every year. We will have it for about 3 or 4 days. On day 1, we will invite China. On day 2, we'll invite the US. On day 3, we will invite Europe. On day 4, we'll invite the next guy. And so we will make better use of our time. And we will make it easier for everybody to engage with us. Because in any case, any serious business people who are not thinking about Africa will shortly be on the losing end. So we must position ourselves appropriately. And ACFTA is going to be our vehicle. Mr. Wamkele Mene is going to be our vehicle for positioning Africa appropriately to be the epicenter of trade, of investment, of commerce. And I am very confident that that will give us the opportunity to be the continent that we should be.
There is a debate that I will stay out of, and that is whether it was Kenya or Ghana that was the first country to deposit the instrument of ratification of the AFcFTA. I wisely stay out of this debate. What I would say, however, is that both countries were the first countries to deposit their instruments of ratification to the African Union, indicating and demonstrating not just political will, but also legal commitment to the founding objectives of the Organization of African Unity. It is befitting that His Excellency and the government that he leads are here today to see and to witness the fruits of their labor. The Secretariat was established here in August 2020. The government of Ghana, under the leadership of His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, provided us with all of the resources that we require to make sure that the AFcFTA succeeds. And 4 years down the line, the AFcFTA, as a result of that support, is one of the leading flagship projects of the African Union. And so in less than 4 years' time, in large part because of the support we received from the government of Ghana, we have been able to demonstrate that where, as Africans, we commit, we act, we do see the results that all of us want to see. Kenya's active participation as one of the countries that traded, well, the first country to trade under the AFcFTA's Guided Trade Initiative, exporting goods, value-added production to Ghana, to Nigeria, and other parts of the African continent. And here I must make special mention, Your Excellency, of Balozi High Commissioner Mene, who ensured that Kenya was one of the first countries to trade under the AFcFTA. As a result of all of these efforts, you will recall that in October 2022, yourself and I saw off a shipment, the very first shipment to be exported from Kenya to Ghana, which was value-added production, tea that was received in Ghana under the preferences of the AFcFTA. I always mention this as an example of the kind of trade that we want to create under the AFcFTA, inclusive benefits, creating opportunities for smallholder farmers, and in this case, the farmers that exported the tea were farmers, smallholder farmers that the government of Kenya organized into cooperatives who now can credibly say that they are contributing to Africa's trade. I congratulate Kenya for the development of the National AFcFTA Implementation Strategy for the period 2022 to 2027, which marks a significant milestone on the journey to achieve our objectives. This strategy provides a comprehensive framework for harnessing trade and investment opportunities for Kenya across Africa, which remains a very important export and import destination.